Great. Thank you, Doran and Mary Claire. Our next speakers are Kristy Anderson and Audrey Brass. Kristy is from Northwestern Ontario. She has experience in working with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry as a firefighter, but also as a response technician. She is completing her Master's of Science Studies at University of Manitoba. Audrey is from Pine Creek First Nation. She has worked as an environmentalist and a community research partner, as well as working with the Soil Science Department at University of Manitoba for 5 years now. So I'd like to warm welcome for them.
All right, good morning, everybody. Hope you're enjoying your morning. I'm Kristy Anderson. Thank you for being here. And I just want to hand it over to Audrey in case you want to introduce yourself further.
Okay, I'm Audrey Brass from Pine Creek First Nation. I met Wendy at a conference about 5 years ago, and I tapped into her H20 project. And they accepted us as being, we asked if we can be part of the project, and I told her what was going on in our community with our drinking water. So this is where we've been now. We've been challenging, we've been collecting, how would you say, data and evidence to prove to our funders, INAC, that we need better drinking water. And to no avail, We've been told to do this and do that. When we have this done, then we still don't get what we want. So we're not giving up. We're never going to give up because it's our right to have clean drinking water for our community. We did our hydrological study that they told us to do. And from there, out of the 22 recommendations on our hydrological study, maybe one has been dealt with through INAC. So we're not going to give up. We're just going to keep on collecting the evidence, because the more data you have and the more evidence you have, then the more power you have to make change. So I'm going to hand it back to Kristy. She'll start the slideshow.
Sweet. So drinking water security, I'm sure you guys have heard about food security. I wanted to explain the definition we're coming across this research as, and we're defining it through the human right to drinking water. This is something our federal government here in Canada signed on to about 5 years ago just, and they said that they would recognize the human right to drinking water. That's also tied to sanitation. But the basic idea is this human right entitles everybody to have safe, sufficient, accessible, physically accessible, and affordable water. And that water is for your personal and domestic uses. As we all know, our government has made a promise to end long-term drinking water advisories. They clarified this because initially they said boil water advisories, but here we go, this is the plan. I bring this up because Pine Creek First Nation does not have a long-term boil water advisory, yet there are water infrastructure problems that this community needs tackled so that their people can have safe water. So, water in Pine Creek. There's 2 ways you can get water in Pine Creek First Nation. They have a water treatment plant, and it's been running great. There's no issues. It provides clean, safe drinking water, and it is directly piped to about 60 homes in the community. And those homes that have that direct piped water tend to have no water quality issues. And there is another way you can get water, and that's through water truck delivery. So as Stuart showed, these water treatment plants have a hose that hangs down to fill up a water truck, and this water truck works all day. In Pine Creek, there's 3 trucks, but one of them's broken down right now. That's a problem too. And they drive around all day to fill up these cisterns. Each house has one, and there's about 150 homes in Pine Creek that have cisterns. Yeah.
I used to be the water community monitor, so I know that a lot of people used to ask questions like, well, isn't it the water truck, isn't it the hose, or aren't they touching the hose that goes into the cistern? And when I was doing the testing, only once I found one of the water trucks had a positive reading. And so he flushed his truck out, and this is out of like 2.5 years. And so I would tell the people, no, the water trucks are fine. The water treatment plant is fine. Mm-hmm. It's our cisterns. And then that's where my work started to lead towards trying to figure out why our people were getting sick and why their water was running out, or why you have a family of 5 and it rains and all of a sudden they don't need water. Where did their water come from? So it was damaged cisterns and sewage tanks.
Yeah. And to give you an idea of what that looks like, Rudong and Gitani, who will be presenting later, they've been working with Audrey to test tap water, test the water treatment plant for many years now. And this is their 2016 results just all together. So you can see there's total coliforms in red, E. coli in blue, and they're present in the source water. That's okay. Of course we're going to have that stuff in our source water. That's natural. E. coli comes from warm-blooded mammals, and it's everywhere in our world. But you cannot have it in your drinking water. So WTP stands for the water treatment plant. There was nothing present there, nothing in the trucks, like Audrey said, nothing in the homes with piped water. And then here we're finding the presence in the cisterns. Here's some of the issues that they're dealing with. One of the big ones, like Audrey said, is the broken tanks. Some of these tanks will run out, and as she said, there'll be a rainstorm, and magically their tank's full. Well, that's because the rain went into it. Many of these tanks are past their lifespan. They've got cracks. They're supposed to last for about 25 years. There's a lot of people that are past that. They're in ill repair. And as well as they're dealing with a lot of issues with spring runoff, high water table, and a very clay-rich soil. So if you have studied soil or looked at clay, it can fill up with water. And when it freezes, it expands. And when it thaws, it shrinks. And this causes big shifting in the ground, and even boulders have smashed up against these tanks that are underground. You wanted to mention some stuff?
The pictures that you see where it says farm runoff and dead bison. Now, we have our own bison ranch in Pine Creek. We have like 45 head. And we know not to put our bison on the river or on, the lakefront. We have a fence that divides our bison from our river, and then we make our own dugout, and we pump water into the dugout for the bison. Now, right now, Pine Creek, we partnered up with Duck Bay and Camperville because they are like 5 minutes away from us. And what we're trying to do is protect Lake Winnipegosis, because it is one of the Great Lakes, and it is one of the lakes that's, gives life to a lot of communities along the lake. Well, now we have a 5,000 head bison ranch. Like I said before, we did our hydrological study, and Pine Creek's watershed that flows right through Pine Creek into Lake Winnipegosis has the steepest watershed in Manitoba. Like, it just goes down straight into Winnipegosis, Lake Winnipegosis. So now we have, it's called the Olson Ranch, but he goes under a whole bunch of names. And he's got 5,000 head of bison. And now we have the Garland River and the Pine River running through his ranch. And, we're trying to protect the lake, and yet we have industry allowing, or agriculture and sustainable development to allow this to happen. I just don't understand where it's coming from. So I have learned a few things while listening to what Doran said, and then my uncle mentioned something when we were having our coffee break. So there is, we still have to fight, because like we said, we're full of overland flooding, and whatever is on top of the ground, it's just gonna come seeping into our communities. And it's not just Aboriginal communities. There's a lot of communities there. So that is another big fight of ours. Like we're trying to lessen our imprint on Lake Winnipegosis and save the lake. And now we have to deal with a 5,000 head bison ranch. So, and I even have pictures. They don't even, the bison are on the rivers. They got little holes that they're all pushing and shoving each other, and they're trying to drink out of these little holes. Bison are dying on the Garland River and the Pine River. I have pictures of them. It's just horrible. It's horrible to see these animals treated like this, and it's horrible to see the land treated like this, and it's horrible to see the effects of it. So we have another big fight ahead of us, and we're not going to give up. And with the help of the University of Manitoba and the different projects that we're going to be seeking now for another project, which will be source contamination.
So Audrey and I wanted to go a little bit further than just the tap water testing to talk about how water is affecting people that are living in the homes in Pine Creek. So we did a water survey last year, and we had a lot of people that wanted to do it. We went to, there's about 209 homes in the community, give or take. We went to 129 homes. 121 people said yes, they'd love to fill out a survey. So we'll just go right into it. I'm only showing you guys a few of the highlights from this work. One of the big main questions, do you think your tap water is safe? Would you drink tap water? There's a lot of people that have strong opinions about it. Like this one person who said, I'd rather drink ditch water. But overall, they do not trust their water at the same levels of other non-First Nations people living in small communities in Canada. Health Canada did that survey in 2009. They found 88% said that, yes, they do trust their water. 40% of people in Pine Creek say the same thing. And it's those people that have cisterns that are very concerned about their safety of their water, which is rightfully so. The bars on the left-hand side, the blue ones, those are homes that have piped water. And then the stripy bars are those that have cisterns. And then the issues that they have with their tap water are listed on the bottom. We also talked about how much tap water people are actually willing to drink, or if they're relying on bottled water. On the far side, these two bars are representing those that drink 100% tap water. They don't drink bottled water at all. There's the ones in the middle, they drink some of both. And then there's the ones closest to me, which drink 100% bottled water. Overall, 35% of people are relying only on bottled water for drinking. This is a high cost for people. And we can compare it again to non-First Nations people, and there's only 8% in this study that report drinking 100% bottled water. As I mentioned before, this is a problem with money. So 3 out of 4 people that we talk to buy bottled water. A lot of people are traveling. Dawson's, what, 100K away?
112.
Yeah. So a little over 100 kilometers away to go get their bottled water, so you could factor in traveling costs as well. But this is just what they're spending on bottled water in a typical month. Almost 40% of people that we surveyed spend over $50 a month on bottled water. The United Nations gives us an estimate of what they suggest is affordable water costs. They say that 3% of your annual household income should go to water costs, no more. If I were to follow those rules and I spent $50 a month, my human right to drinking water wouldn't be fulfilled. So here's a really big one. is actually physically running out of water. This is really affecting people's daily lives, going to work, sending their kids to school. And 70% of people that have cisterns have experienced running out of water.
That was one of the other reasons why I got involved in this, was because that I know the fact that people that were running out of water, they couldn't do their laundry, they couldn't go to work, the kids couldn't go to school, the kids got bugs, the kids got scabies, the kids were stinky, then they got bullied, you lose out on your income, the kids lose out on schooling, and it's just a domino effect. So the right to having clean drinking water has a big effect on the disparity of a community.
Mm-hmm, for sure. 1 minute. Okay. And here's some quotes people left. There's many. It's hard to choose what would best represent, but here's 3. The water in my home does affect me socially. I can't even have visitors because of the water in my home. My kids have been bullied from dirty clothes. I'm a grandmother, an auntie. I have children in my home. When there's no water, I cannot give them a bath. And this is real. There's grandmas there that don't want to have their grandchildren come visit for Christmas. You know, that's huge. That's yeah, sorry, it just gets to me. I would like to remind people that there are many benefits to investing in water and sanitation. One of the big ones is healthcare savings. A recent study by Melanie O'Gorman estimated that over $100 million in healthcare could be saved if water quality was improved off-reserve. She got those numbers from the Aboriginal People Survey, which mostly surveys off-reserve people. So imagine the money that could be saved for those that live on reserve. As well as there's productive days gained at work, going to school, time saving, so you don't have to run around and try to find the water truck, try to call the water plant, see if anyone's there. Because your water pump will burn out if you run out of water, and that's like $300. As well as you're going to be saving lives and keeping people from getting sick. These are huge benefits. So for now, thank you for your time.
I wanted to make one more comment. I just wanted to make one more comment on the bison ranch that's affecting our watershed. If you look at how big Winnipeg is, that's the size of the ranch that's operating in our watershed. It's really sad. And I hope this comes to the attention of a lot of people that can do something about it. Thank you.